There we go. There we go. First one of the afternoon. Hey everybody, welcome into this week's edition of Tony's Spot on Fishing. I'm your host, Tony Krizek, and today we're doing one of my favorite techniques. We're jerkbait bass fishing. A lot of guys think you can't power fish once the temps drop and the cold air comes in, but we're going to show you today one of the best things you can do is power fish under these conditions. The fish are feeding aggressively. It's my favorite time of year. That's all this week on Tony's Spot on Fishing. What we're throwing here today, folks, is actually the Rapala jerkbaits. The Rapalas, the BX minnows. To me, I think in probably the last 10 years or so, this is one of the best jerkbaits that has come out on the market. They're balsa wood construction, excellent baits, neutral buoyancy. They have a very slow rise. They almost suspend. If you really need them to suspend, we could put some suspend strips on there. But really, for what we're doing today, we want that real slow rise to it. And I'll tell you, this is probably the best jerkbait on the market right now. It's unbelievable the slash and flash you get off of these baits. And let me show you exactly how we're retrieving these guys. After we've thrown them out here, there's really no set cadence to them. You know, everybody thinks, it's kind of like one of the walk the dog style baits, like a Zara Spook or anything like that. And it's actually nothing could be further from the truth. We don't want any kind of set rhythm to these baits. And when we're doing this, we'll do 1 pop, 2 pops, break it up, integrate some different pauses into it, and let that bait really do the work for you. Also, the reel in this application, the reel is there just to pick up slack line. So we're running a high-speed reel, usually like a 7:1 to 1, 7.3 to 1. But all the action is imparted in the rod tip. And you can see I'm actually just kind of snapping my wrist. I'm not even doing full pulls with my forearm, just snapping it. And when you actually pause it, you want a little bit of slack to it. And what that's gonna do when there's that little bit of slack and you pause it, that's when that bait's actually gonna turn. So you kind of get that side roll, little swing out. So there we go. Just like that, right on a pause. A little guy. But they're all fun. Nice little guy. And also too, we're running basically medium action rods. You want a rod that's gonna have a little bit of give to it. Basically these rods with a little give, this will allow those fish to suck that bait in a little better. We also run monofilament line for this application, again, for a little bit of stretch. I highly recommend P-Line CXX. It's a good abrasion resistant monofilament, good castability, and really when we're jerkbait fishing, probably one of the best lines we can throw. See, so many times anglers make the mistake when these water temps start dropping and air temps start dropping, that you gotta fish slow. And that's not, oh, there we go. Boy, that's a nice one there. Like I was saying, folks, a lot of times people think you gotta fish slow. But really, these fish are pretty aggressive this time of year. And the reason they are so aggressive is they're stocking up because they won't feed as heavily once the ice gets on the lakes. So, fall is my personal favorite time. I don't care if you're a bass fisherman. I don't care if you're a walleye guy, a pike guy, muskie guy. This is about the best time to get out and catch fish. You'll catch quality fish, good numbers. This is spot on fishing right here. Fall power fishing, jerk baits, rattle baits. That's all you need. Get out there and get in on some of this hot action. Woo, she took off good. Let's get another one. That was fun. So let's continue where we left off on our conversation about power fishing in the fall. You know, like I say, so many anglers think, you know, we have to start slowing down, and guys will start fishing deeper, and they'll be running drop shot rigs, big football heads on break lines, but they're missing out on these active fish that are still up on these flats. And a lot of guys think, you know, oh, September, when it's, you know, you're still in shorts, that's the start of the fall bite. Well, yeah, technically, but, you know, these fish, active fish, will still stay on these shallow flats. And the flat we're actually fishing today, we're anywhere from about 5 feet of water to 8 feet of water. And the weeds are anywhere from a foot below the surface to, even in some lower spots as the weeds are starting to die down, about 3 feet down. And basically we're coming right over the tops of these with a jerk bait, or we can throw like a red eye shad, that 1/2 ounce red eye shad. And anytime we make contact, especially with a jerk bait or that red eye, if we make contact, give it a hard rip, pop that weed off of it. A lot of times those fish will eat it. The nice thing about the jerk bait is we can kind of hang it right on top of those weed tops. And that's what these fish really love. You pause that bait and get it to just hang there for just a second. It triggers a natural reaction in them. They just can't not hit it. You know, it's their natural instincts when they see dying food, an easy meal, especially this time of year, to take advantage of it. But what's nice with a jerk bait, we still are fishing a little bit slower because of the integrating pauses and whatnot, but it's still considered power fishing, so we can still cover a lot of water and still find these active fish. And when they're really hot and going, that's when we can go to that red eye, rip that red eye right over the weed tops, and probably the most versatile fall search bait we can throw on these shallow flats. Little guy. Whoa, oh, crappie. Oh. That's a nice little fall bonus fish there. I was gonna say, I thought it was really a real small bass, but nice little crappie on the jerk bait. Boy, I don't know. He sure had an appetite on him. He takes after me, I'll tell you. Oh well. Nice little bonus fish. Never know what you're gonna catch on a jerk bait. There we go. Oh man, that one just kind of sucked it right on in. Ate it right on the paws there. My goodness. Couldn't have lost that one if I tried. But yeah, that one actually just came up, sucked it in right on the paws. Sometimes they'll hit it when that bait's in motion, but most times on that jerk bait, that strike's gonna come usually when you pause it, or just as you start to move it again after a pause. They just can't resist it sitting there hanging right in their face. When we're power fishing in the late fall like this is that red eye shad, lipless crankbaits, rattle baits, Bill Lewis rattle traps, any other type of rattle bait that you want to throw will work. I'm a big fan of those red eye shads though, because when we do pause a red eye shad, and a lot of times we'll do what we kind of call yo-yoing, which is a stop and go retrieve. And when we pause it, that bait will actually kind of swim itself down, which is what's really nice about the red eyes. So we'll get that little bit of flash as it'll fall. High vibrations, a lot of noise comes off these baits, and we throw that 1/2 ounce size and we can just cover a lot of water. Now with a rattle bait, I will fish fluorocarbon, just so I have a little bit better feel with that crankbait. It'll also help kind of keep the rattle bait down a little bit as I'm scooting it along. And of course, I'll throw it on a standard crankbait rod. This is actually a 710 medium heavy cranking stick, but real soft tip to it. So this way I won't have to worry about pulling hooks out on that treble hooks. I'll be able to keep the fish buttoned up, and the long rods and the soft tip, I can get a long cast, cover a lot of water. Helps make it much more of an effective search bait. Oh man, as soon as I paused it, that fish ate. Whoa, this bad boy thinks she's big. That's because it's a little chunker. Oh, stay buttoned up for me. Whoops, come here. Don't you jump now and put that hook in me either. Come here. Oh man. Boy, that red-eye shad, like I say, that stop and go pattern, paused it for just a split second. As soon as I did, that little chunker hammered it. You can see those bellies, they're getting fat. Even the smaller fish, it's all they're doing. They're up here feeding. And I'll tell you, this is the best time to be out on the water power fishing. This is fun. Let's get this fish back in. And away she goes. And I'm running it fairly, let me show you exactly the retrieve we're doing here. Basically, we're actually kind of scooting it along. You know, we're not really fishing too slow with it. And then just integrate a little pause. Don't need much, because we are still on a shallow flat, so we don't want to give it too much time. But just a little quick second pause to let that bait fall a little bit. And that'll get them going. I'll tell you, that's about all the time we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and hopefully be able to use these tips, tricks, and techniques that we showed you on your favorite bodies of water. Literally, rivers, lakes, anything you can find, ponds. These are the type of tactics we can do late in the fall like this. It's mid-October, barely 50 degrees, north wind blowing. We're still power fishing though. Catching them on lipless crankbaits and jerkbaits. Both the red-eye shad and that Balsa X slash bait from Rapala. I'll tell you what, get a couple of those, get out on your favorite lake, and have some fun. Fish these shallow flats, and you'll find a lot of active bass. That's spot on fishing right there. Until next week, we'll see everybody later.